Yeah, and I think you can feel our passion in our food. We hear that from our customers all the time.
That looked like rainbows on the plate because we just used like yellow zucchinis, heirloom carrots, the whole 9 yards, and it just ended up being really nice.
Now, I'm notorious for not measuring, so what I'm going to do is very lightly drizzle some of our honey over the meats.
We left on the spinalis there, which is arguably the most flavorful part of meat on a cow. Arguably, like I said, people argue about it a lot.
We've got some butter on this side. It'll take a little bit longer than it might in a kitchen inside. Lots of butter because I believe in it.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Renfrew County in the beautiful Ottawa Valley. Today we are celebrating a Taste of the Valley with myself, David Waibu from the County of Renfrew, and my co-host, Katie Tallis from Laurentian Valley Township. We are here with Rebecca McPhee and Leah, who are going to cook us up a wonderful meal this afternoon, letting us sample something new from Renfrew County.
Yeah. So we are making you guys a Buddha bowl. It's one of our signature dishes. We do it a lot. We've got 3 what we do mainly, and then we've got one that we're doing for you guys, which is our farmer's market bowl. So this is basically anything we can find at our local farmer's market stand, anything gorgeous, anything beautiful, we pick up and we throw together, which is usually, you know, pretty nice. We are lucky enough that the Shoeless Family Farm. Whoop.
Push the button on the side.
On the side. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Sorry about that.
All right.
There we are. So we were very lucky that the Shoeless Family Farm was nice enough to donate a lot of these nice fresh veggies. So we are using kale and Savoy cabbage from their farm. We're also using some Sam squash. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. And we're just gonna throw it into our skillet here with some yellow zucchini. And this is gonna be our big veggies for our Buddha bowl. And then we are also over here going to be grilling up some chicken that we've had marinating overnight in some dill and lemon sauce. It's gonna be really fresh and really tasty on top.
This
and then,
is like a Taste of the Valley.
Oh yeah,
iconic dish, I think, in a nutshell, right?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's super
you can
cool.
Smell the dill already.
Yeah. It's really cool being so close to a lot of farms, especially living up here. It's unbelievable. The Shoeless Farm, they're fantastic. They send out all their meats to an arbitrage, so unfortunately they don't butcher there. But at the same time, all their produce that they give us is so nice and so fresh. And we have an option on our menu to get beef from them. And their beef is probably the nicest I've seen in a very long time. Anyway.
And you eat a lot of beef, I'm sure.
Unfortunately,
right?
yes. So we are just gonna take a little pinch of our little magic salt and pepper mix, and we're gonna throw it on with the squash and make sure everything gets nice and seasoned. And I'm pretty sure that's going because I see a flame, but the wind is not helping me out.
No, that is going. This one
Perfect.
is not going.
No, but this rice we have already pre-cooked for the magic of television stuff. It would take a little longer if we tried to do it here. We are just reheating this, so this gets heated up about 2 or 3 minutes before we make your bowl. Make sure everything's nice and, you know, warm. And then our other stuff that we're putting on it is some feta cheese and some shredded beets. These beets also came from the Shoeless Farm. Again, we've pre-shredded them for you guys, so you don't have to stand here and watch me shred away for a couple minutes. But the big star of all of this is our Buddha dressing, which we like to bottle and sell in jars. We also have it ready to squeeze for you guys. It is delicious. We use stuff in it that actually makes it extremely healthy for you. There's no dairy, it's completely vegan, but it is creamy and delicious. So we have a couple
and of course
ingredients.
The recipe is top secret, I'm sure.
Yes. I will tell you the 1 star of it is definitely nutritional yeast. Not a lot of people cook with it.
Yes.
And it is...
It's like the new kid on the block when it comes to like
it is fantastic.
Yes.
It's got that great umami flavor that adds to this, and it is probably hands down the star of the dressing.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Oh, it's kind of like hitting the scene when it comes to kind of, you know, the healthy lifestyle. Experimenting in the kitchen, if you will, and people are kind of like venturing to that a bit more.
It's extremely high in B12, I think, which is why people are so obsessed with it right now.
It's great on popcorn. I can tell you that.
Yes,
because it gives it kind of a cheesy flavor a little bit, right? So I think a lot of people who are like exploring vegan and that sort of thing are looking at those options. Yeah.
Okay, so I have to give that a try.
So Buddha bowls, I love Buddha bowls, so I'm exactly here for this. But I think what's so beautiful about it is that you can just take anything that you see that's fresh and local and really experiment with the flavors and create something that's completely unique and like hearty, and it kind of covers off everything that you need in a meal.
Absolutely.
Yes. We do very seasonal Buddha bowls. So in the winter, you'll find us, well, we go back to our root veg, of course. But in the summers, that's when the berries start coming. And then when they, we feature those peaches, anything we can get our hands on. Yeah, I love going to the farmer's market, little basket, and just picking up stuff and bringing it back to whoever's in the kitchen. You guys cook something up, and then they come up with some awesome, and a lot of specials as well, right? Our Buddha bowls are one of our signature dishes, but we love the creativity of cooking with local foods, because it tells you what you're going to make in a way, right? Like, what do we have?
Absolutely.
Yes. And I think it pushes people too, if they open their fridge, you're like, hey, what do I have that's available? And what's left or what needs to be used, you can really experiment and like explore different flavors super easily, and a Buddha bowl is kind of the place to do it.
I think the biggest thing about modern cooking now is basically using everything. Is what do I not throw away? What parts of a vegetable, what parts of anything do I get to keep using? And the luxury of being a small business and working for someone like Becky is that we get to go to a farmer's market stand and think, okay, I'm going to use my carrots, but I can also use the tops in a soup sometime later on this week. And then we end up kind of snowballing specials that like work after one another, and they like end up being this fantastic little mini menu. We do a fish special on Fridays that usually is just an accumulation of all the herbs that we've picked up throughout the week, and it ends up being delicious, and it's a herb-based fish. We could have brought it, but our Buddha bowls are the main killer for this.
I enjoy the fact that when you come to some of these small towns, like you go into Combermere, you try your restaurant, and you're going to taste food that is very local and that you wouldn't get anywhere else. The flavors are unique. It's not big corporate food that tastes the same in every city across the country. This is unique. You go to Combermere, you try Heartwoods. And by the way, last time I was there, I bought one of your nice little cups. Love the logo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, my sister, actually, when we opened the Heartwood, it was kind of a family project. So my brother is in graphic design. My sister's an artist. We got somebody else in web design. We've got this. And so my sister drew the logo. My other sister and I came up with the idea of it. She drew it as an artist. And then my brother went, that doesn't work as a logo. So he digitized it. Right. And then he was like, so it was really fun. And I'm always going back to my brothers because they're the computer nerds, and they're the ones who say, your web, they fix up the website every now and again.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that even speaks true to like even more of a local story. The family, right? And you don't get that everywhere.
You get, I'm always fascinated, you get all these small towns, these rural areas, and you see people there and you wonder, how do they exist? What goes on there? But the amount of creativity, the imagination that comes forth from these small rural communities in Renfrew County is absolutely fantastic. I've been thrilled by all the people I've had the pleasure to be able to meet and talk to throughout the county. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's really true. And everyone has like this special gem to them, really. Yeah. And so, Renfrew County is huge, really.
Yeah, it is.
So if you
biggest county in Ontario.
Is it really?
It is.
I didn't even know that.
The largest county in Ontario. Wow. Up north there's districts, and districts are bigger.
Yeah.
But for counties in southern Ontario, we're the biggest.
That's fantastic.
Fun fact of the day.
Yeah, seriously.
Question. But it's like people love to travel, but people don't always think about their backyard. And I think COVID's really pushed people to look in their backyard and see what's local and what's around. And whenever I love to travel, for me, traveling is not only the experience, but it's the food. Yeah. And so I think, going to Combermere and maybe doing some hikes and exploring what's around there, the kind of the Kirk Bridge and all those things. But it's like tasting the food too. It just adds and creates that memory that solidifies it that much more.
Yeah, and on that point, that was why we made the lake bowls. So we we were trying to showcase our local tourism around this area this summer, and we made bowls, or fish bowls, which became a huge thing again. Thank you, 90s comeback. They became a big thing again, and the fantastic part of them is we got to name each one after the lakes in the area, and our goal was, if you could tell us that it was your lake, your home lake, whatever, we kind of wanted to see pictures of it with you, because a lot of our lake bowls during especially COVID, when it made takeout alcohol a big thing, was the giving them for people to go to take home to their cottages, their docks. And we wanted to know if you were on Kaministkeg Lake, if that was your dock, if that was your cottage, and you took a cami bowl from us to go, we wanted a picture of it. We wanted to showcase, where you were, and then post us and tag us and all that stuff. So we created a menu of a whole bunch of lake bowls to go with it. And this one right here, this is our Alien Lake bowl. So this is a blueberry kind of melony drink. It's very, very vibrant, and it's to go after all the waterfalls around Aylen Lake. I don't know if you've seen them, if you've been in there, but it is definitely a blast.
So cute. And they go in. You know, we just throw in the gummies. We throw in the, and then
That is too fun.
pretty.
Okay, and
Look
this
at that.
speaks true to like what COVID has like allowed us to do, right?
Yeah.
It's pushed people to think from a different perspective. Look at that.
It allowed
It's
restaurants.
absolutely fantastic.
And is this how you serve it in the restaurant too?
Yes.
In that, oh, I love
Yes, it comes in a bowl. It's one of those things where it's kind of a shareable thing. It's a lot of liquid if you would like to share it. So we do give little like punch bowl ladles and stuff like that for people.
That's really
And it
cute.
is a
So
blast.
nice. I got a little sample here.
Yes,
This is our Aylen Lake bowl.
yes.
So
Oh my God. Is that ever good?
Right?
you're like,
Oh,
It's
wow.
very refreshing. It's one of those things that like if you've had a hot day on the boat,
Yes.
you're coming in to have a sip of that.
This is delicious.
Yeah.
Very refreshing.
And we've had lots of hot days, so people
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure have been indulging. Yeah.
And it's just a fun thing to go out with your friends for.
Yeah.
And they have loyalties to their,
I was
you know,
gonna
to their
say,
lakes, right?
We have like team this versus
So-
team that.
We
Right?
ran into a lot of troubles when we made that menu because you guys know there's so many lakes in this area, and we had to really narrow it down to the key big ones that we saw people coming in from. But we were getting like messages and stuff like, when are you gonna roll out this lake and when is this one? And all we could think of was we ran out of cocktail ideas. Like I would absolutely love to make you guys like anything lakeful, but I don't know what to put in it anymore.
And there's so many lakes, like you said.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
where
yeah.
do you draw
There's
that
a
line?
There is a
lot of
ton.
lakes and, a lot of lakes, a lot of rivers. It's really something.
Yeah.
This is
Right.
absolutely delicious. And I love the little gummy shark. This is a shark attack I'm not afraid of.
Exactly. Did I get that one going there? Oh gosh.
Wow.
Oh, that's such a nice little touch.
We call it Shark Tank.
A Shark Tank.
Yeah, Shark Tank
That should
where
be,
everyone
yeah.
wins.
Where everyone wins. There we go.
Where everyone wins. That would be fantastic. But yeah, it was definitely the hardest thing was us picking what we were going to bring you guys for the Lake Fools. We definitely had to narrow it down a little bit. But yeah, they're a tasty little treat that we do.
They are absolutely tasty.
Okay.
Chicken's still
So
cooking.
we are just waiting on that
Outdoor
chicken.
kitchen.
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
flame side of it. It's
Oh
okay.
wait, yeah, and that's the wind.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, you get cooking, everything's brilliant. It's hot, hot, hot. Big gust of wind comes by, barbecue's off.
You know what? That's the thrill of barbecuing.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of it, right? Is you get to take your time. Sometimes it gets a little hectic. But you know what?
And it's,
Everything's fun.
I was gonna say it's a beauty of starting a small business too. You know, like going into COVID. Right, we opened in 2018, and then COVID happened. It's like you're flying by the seat of your pants, but you just work with it, right? As time goes on, you
Yeah.
figure it out. So this is what we're doing with this barbecue right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the thing with the small business, right? You figure out what works, you figure out what doesn't work, and it takes time to also kind of go through that roller coaster.
Well, that's the thing, you know,
Yeah.
you have to just adapt. And the one thing COVID has taught us is the absolute desperate importance of adapting. I mean, there's been a lot of people innovating and you know, the big pivot, as they say.
Yeah,
And,
those buzzwords, right?
Yeah, you know, those who've
Yeah.
done it, you know, have come across pretty well. But there's still been lots of people who've been pretty severely hurt. I mean, it's not life. It's certainly not life as normal.
No.
So we really feel for all those people. The restaurant business has been one of the ones hardest.
But our local community, honestly, like I said to other business owners from other places, when I go to the city, I try and support whatever the little mom and pop places. And it's like we're fortunate to be in the valley because I feel like people here are so loyal to their local businesses. Like I really experienced that. Like people literally come in for a coffee just to make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
that's been beautiful to see. Honestly, this valley is we had to go through it. Here's a good place to be.
You know, it's, for me, I know when I go to even takeout places now, traditionally people wouldn't tip at takeout places. Now I do. And I'll tip 20-25% because I can feel for the person that's working there that's had to be off perhaps for months and you know, they're struggling.
It's true.
It's difficult. So
Yeah.
we really appreciate, you know, we talk about those people in the front lines. Well, all those retail people, all those servers
It's all
that are
front
they're
line.
seeing us, they're front line. You know, they're helping keeping everything going for us, for our economy going, and keeping people's lives happy. You know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that they kind of just made lemonade out of lemons kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like my younger sister, when the pandemic started, she worked at a restaurant and they said, well, we're going to need somebody to run takeout. And she was like, yeah, I'll do it. She's like, no problem. I will show up. because there's a sense of community amongst the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been through like the hottest of heated moments in kitchens, in front of house and back of house. And you know what? At the end of the day, that family dinner thing, it still reigns true in all restaurants. There's still a moment where the night is over, everyone's done, and we do stuff like this.
Yeah.
Where we're like, okay guys, are you hungry? We'll make everyone dinner, we'll all sit down, we'll all talk, and we'll see how the night went. And I like that it's coming back to that again. That the restaurants are reviving.
Yeah, it has, become like a family through all this. We kind of,
Yeah.
the staff even, like some had to be laid up, but it's like they all stuck around to see what was going to happen. Like when they said, how about rehiring? I said, we didn't have a problem with it. We brought in a few new ones, but people kind of stuck around and even came in to volunteer their time during craziness.
Really?
When I first started working for Becky, it was at like the high peak of the pandemic where it was just takeout. And there were front of house girls that were just coming in to volunteer their time to just help out because they wanted to make sure that everyone was going well, that she was being supported, the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
So we could not have had a better boss.
Well, I think that's really, I was going to say, I think that speaks true to the business that you created, really, because people are willing to do that and make sure that you survive. And because people don't realize, so those little bits like really go a long way for the survival of a business. So
You know, when you're in a small community, the businesses are, I mean, they're part of your community, but they're also become part of your family. You know, they become very close knit. In a small community, you really get to know your neighbors, and you get to know the storekeepers and the restaurateurs and staff, and you want to make sure they're all right. And you don't want to ever lose that service when you really come to enjoy it. You don't want to see it disappear.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
you come out and you support your friends and your family, you know, when you need to.
Exactly.
And they were completing their online classes at the same time. So I mean, you know,
Yes.
a couple of them were on their computers. I have a Zoom call right now, but I am watching takeout, and I'm like,
I love that.
So it was really a family, and one of them was super pregnant on her birthday ball.
Yes.
Like sitting there. She still came in. She bounced on her ball.
Lexi was an absolute and utter titan during the pandemic. This girl showed up, rain or shine. Her first week of going into labor, she was still there answering takeout. And you couldn't send her home. No, because she just
1 second, just gonna breathe.
Yeah, no, she did. And customers adored her. Oh my gosh, they thought it was the best thing ever.
Because it's real.
Yeah,
that's life, right?
That's the great thing about this small town community is that like you kind of don't have to be anyone other than who you are. We at the Heartwood are very much inclusive, and we love everyone coming in from all walks of life, and it's just created this huge community in Combermere now for like you get the coolest, quirkiest of people coming in, and then at the same time we still have our church crowd every Sunday. So it's a good catch.
Well, we tried to create our menu to appeal to everyone. So we have our Buddha bowls. We've got our burgers and fries. Like our snowmobilers ain't gonna eat no tofu.
No, they are not.
So it's like, what can we do to please those guys and the local people?
Your audience is so broad, right?
It is.
Oh yeah.
You really have to kind of.
You got your tourists looking for fancy, and you got So we kind of went across and it's interesting.
Any personal favorites in the menu for yourself?
Myself. One of my personal favorites is our salmon Buddha bowl. Yeah. With the grilled salmon, it has like the mango salsa, and it's got the sweet meat and this dressing. And,
I'm excited to try this dressing. You guys
about
it, and your reactions when you talk about it, it's like
I daydreamed about it. Yeah, literally. On the inside, that's all they look like. Every time I talk about the Buddha dressing, it's just heart eyes.
My wife always gives me a hard time. I tend to really love sauces and dressings. So.
I am a condiment person too. Yeah. So you have the right audience here for that.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so our squash is nice and tender, and because the wind is making this one a little difficult, we are just gonna swap these.
There we go.
And we're gonna leave that to cool off just a little bit. We're gonna heat up this rice. So for the rice, all we do is just kind of toast it in the pan and let it heat up just a little bit.
And what type of rice is this?
This is our wild brown rice, and then we do a quinoa mix. So it's about a 20 to like 80 style mix, where it's more rice than it is quinoa, but we do add a lot of quinoa into it. It kind of makes for a nice little base. It also helps to suck up the Buddha dressing. Unfortunately, we do find that, like, you know, sometimes people douse our dressing, and it is delicious, but the lettuce gets a little soggy after a little while. So the rice really helps, which is great. So
Keema probably gives a little extra little crunch or like that nuttiness.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the best part actually for that is we toast sunflower seeds
Oh.
and we throw them on top, and they are like guilty pleasures because they almost taste like they've been deep fried. So
Right.
it feels like you have a little chip on it, but all we do is olive oil, salt, and in the oven,
Yeah.
roast it for a little bit, and then they go on top.
And that's the other thing with Buddha bowls, all the different textures, right?
Yeah.
You need to have
You gotta
that
have all
balance.
those elements, all those
Yeah.
crunches, all that soft stuff. The cool
Yes.
thing is that, like Becky said, we range so heavily. So we've got our Buddha bowls geared for vegan to all the way up to vegetarian or
Nice.
salmon. But then we also will slow cook a pulled pork for a good 10 hours for our pulled pork sandwiches and then kill through it in a day. So it's a hard mix at the Heartwood.
We can't decide. We just like food.
Yeah, yeah.
We just like all food, basically.
And when you're shopping local too, it's kind of like you get inspired with like, well, what's available, right? And
Yes.
what can we make with
Well,
what we can source? So
It's interesting too what a lot of the small niche local farmers are producing these days. Like, you know, it's not your run-of-the-mill factory farm. They come up with a lot of heritage heirloom vegetables and a lot of things you wouldn't normally see.
yeah, kind of bringing it back to,
Yeah.
you know, well, what used to be here? What did we used to do?
What grows in this zone?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I like how you said with the Buddha bowl too, that it really transfers over the season. So like in the winter as well, like, you'll get more of like your root vegetables, and you can make it a warmer bowl. And I think that's like beautiful. So I'm happy you showcased this today because I think it really speaks true to people watching that they can really adventure with it throughout the whole year.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Not
So
all-
I am
Not all
just
carrots are orange and not all corn is yellow, you know?
no, not all tomatoes are red.
No, that's
that
right.
was
Yes.
probably the most fun thing about the summer was just kind of finding some weirder colors to add color palette.
Yeah.
We did a seasonal veg the other night that looked like rainbows
Yeah.
on the plate because we just
Beautiful.
used like yellow zucchinis, heirloom carrots, the whole 9 yards, and it just ended up being really nice. So in this bowl, I've got some Savoy cabbage and some kale. The thing to know about kale, if you're gonna eat it raw, is just to massage it a little bit. Kale
Yes,
is one of
I've
those
heard
things that likes to be bruised.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just to make sure that when you bite into it, it doesn't have that like sharp, fibrous feeling in your mouth, which is nice. And then it gives you something to do with your hands while you're waiting for everything
There you
else
go.
to kind of heat up.
Okay, I have heard
traditionally
about
had my
that.
kale fried. I love hand
Oh.
fried kale.
Kale chips
Yeah.
are
Oh, yeah.
my kryptonite. I love them.
They're very good.
Yes, I could not agree more. Just a little bit of salt and pepper and olive oil.
I would take kale out of my garden, and actually I would just, near the end of the season, just pick a bunch of it, just toss it straight into a baggie,
And freeze
into
it.
the freezer,
Yeah.
and then when I'm doing a smoothie, just grab out
Yeah.
a pile of the kale, toss it in the blender, and
It's so
With everything
versatile.
else.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really, and it stays so long.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think I'm like, I'm not gonna pull it yet from the garden, and then I get the big snowfall. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well I guess I'm a little too late
Well,
now. But it can last that long.
I
Yeah.
picked it right through
Phenomenal.
Christmas. It
Did
was
you?
still
Did
covered
you
in snow,
really?
but yeah, you can still.
Oh my
That's insane.
They're still green out there, and they may be
yeah.
covered in
I
snow.
can
but
see the tops. We're good.
That's kale. Yeah,
It
it's a
still
true,
works.
true champ.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
This is looking
Yeah, and the kale
so
looks
delicious.
phenomenal.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's smelling very good.
Yep.
Yes.
How is that chicken?
Looking pretty done, actually.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Because this rice is pretty nice and toasted
Yeah.
now.
And going back to the tomatoes, how you get so many different colors.
Mm-hmm.
So we're actually here at Hedgeview Farms, which is an organic farm. And when I was doing the tour with Brenna, the owner, she was showing me all the different tomatoes she had, and they were gorgeous. Some like deep purples and like
Oh, that's
with like tiger eyes, kind of. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the names of them, but I think you can probably see some in the set a little bit. But there's just different colors, and I just think that's so beautiful, right? You said it's like experimenting
yeah.
with color and bringing a plate to life.
My favorite summer dish to probably make people around this time of the year is bruschetta, and it's just like, it's your go-to tomato goodness because you get that warm bread, especially if you toast it on a barbecue or anything like that.
And that's one vegetable that someone will take a bite into and be like, "Is this homegrown?"
Oh yeah,
Because you know instantly.
You know
like,
the
this is a
difference.
local tomato
Yeah.
versus I got this at the grocery store. Like there's no comparison, right?
yes,
Definitely.
There is no,
They speak the truth.
there's no substitute for that one.
No.
Oh,
So we
It
like to
smells great.
throw
It
a
does look
nice
delicious.
hearty helping
So
of
you
your
do the
greens
Rice first.
on the bottom.
On the
Yes.
bottom. Okay. And then we're gonna top it with our greens.
We're gonna throw your greens on top, and then we are gonna go with the cheese next. Cheese is your nice white base, so we like to add that to the bottom.
Sorry, you say, was that a goat cheese, did you say? Or?
No, it is a feta.
It's a feta cheese. Oh.
Yes. Yes, it's a feta cheese. We do like to use locally sourced goat cheese. The only problem is we're having a hard time getting it because there's been such an influx of buying local this year, which is great. Not complaining about it. However, you know, it means that now you have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning to get it right away.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, supply and demand. But it's great.
Yeah.
It's I've seen such a change in the way that farmers get to do stuff now because people want to know where it came from. There's none of that, oh, I don't care, I'll just pick it up at the grocery store. Now people are more aware of how things are sourced, how they're made, how they're farmed, the whole 9 yards, which has made such a fantastic movement for food.
Yeah, and our farmers, I know they're just so happy about that, right? And I'm sure you
Yeah.
hear
Oh,
all the time.
absolutely. I mean, we've got a long, strong, deep heritage in agriculture. You know, yes, forestry came after the forestry, then or in conjunction with the forestry would come farming. And you know, we've got a couple 100 years worth of farming in the area, and it's brilliant. Like, and it's amazing. I mean, there's again such a large county. There's a lot of different soil structures within the county.
True.
So, you know, I up your way, rocky. You know, like what some of the farmers dealt with.
Well,
Like,
they still deal with.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Stone fences everywhere.
This Shoeless Family Farm, where we got all this the produce and the meat, their family has been farming for generations now. They were the original Polish settlers, and I still know kids who go. They work there, and I talk to them, and they're still picking rocks every year. Like those stone fences aren't there just for pretty. They're there.
They're a reason.
For a reason.
Yeah.
And but this family, like hardworking kids out there. Picking these things.
Picking stones it's a chore.
Oh,
like it's still
And every year.
Every year, because they just come up, right?
Yeah.
They just
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works.
I wouldn't have patience, but
Okay.
that's why I cook, not farm. Farming sounds fun.
I have my own little garden at home, and I
that's
regret it some seasons because I go overboard. As a cook, the hardest thing you could ever do is whittle down your garden. You can't decide what you want, what you want to put on it, the whole 9 yards. So
that's another movement we've really seen too lately.
The field to fork.
Yeah,
I love that movement.
Yes, and people also like experimenting with growing their own vegetables and people that didn't grow up with that or trying now, and it's just phenomenal to see.
The culinary school program I went to was Durham College. I don't know if you guys have talked to anyone from there. They specialize so hard in field to fork that like you get to learn how to grow stuff there, which is fantastic.
Really
our first year we were out and preparing the garden, so it wasn't fully built because we were the first year there when it opened, but the chef that was running the college, I don't know if he still is, Chef Dave, he was fantastic with teaching us how to locally source stuff and who to go to and what to get and how to pick stuff.
And what to look for when you're picking stuff.
Yeah, everything.
Because it's true. It's something that's learned, right? Like you go to the grocery store and like, well, how do I know which melon to get, for example, in a grocery store? Because you don't know, and it's so hard to tell. And it's like, well, you learn from your parents or your grandparents.
Yes,
so
exactly.
when you're going local too, I mean, it's just bringing all those techniques that you learn from childhood into your everyday sourcing. So that's great that they teach that at school. I think that's really phenomenal.
Yeah, he focused a lot on that. And I think it was because they saw the shift in the way that the culinary world was starting to turn, how we were starting to become more obsessed with where things came from and how they were grown and where they were before they came to somebody's plate or somebody's table, that they just they ran with it. And they've made a great program based off of it.
I'm not sure how long. I think it's been about 2 years, but Fellows High School in the city of Pembroke in Renfrew County has recently started, in the last couple of years, a cooking program that focuses on the same type of things.
Fantastic.
So they're teaching high school students, and they actually have their own community gardens at the high school. So they're growing their own food, they're cooking with it. It's a very innovative program.
Yeah, I think teaching younger people, especially, not just how to cook for themselves, but how to cook healthily for themselves and still make it like as tasty as possible. Yeah. It just starts from one program, one class, anything.
Have the flowers.
I think a lot of people don't realize that most flowers, as far as I know, are edible.
Oh yes.
The flower petals are edible and they are delicious.
That's been one of our signature things is to we always just said, my sister and I when we started, is just put a flower on it. Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Put a flower on it.
I feel like I'm in on a vacation or something where you see the incorporation of flowers. So I'm shocked to see that pulled out here, but That's
Yes.
beautiful.
I gotta grab
And
our still camera. Where'd it go?
These are
Wow.
our marketplace Buddha bowls.
And one thing I think we have to talk about when we're doing a Buddha bowl essential is the bowl.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Yes.
You
The
gotta have
bigger
a
the better.
nice deep bowl.
Yes, I always say like if you're gonna do Buddha bowl, you need the right bowl. Wow, this looks
Do you have
phenomenal.
your phone camera to take a picture of
Yes,
those bowls?
I will take some.
Mine's not as good. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's funny. People, can we eat this? Yeah,
Yes.
you can eat it. Yeah.
I don't think many people have had flowers before, right?
No, and
Yeah.
you know what? We have thrown every flower under the sun that you could think of that's edible onto something. We did chocolate covered strawberries in the spring with fresh lilacs
Yeah.
on them.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Oh, they were beautiful. And the floralness with the strawberry just added this perfect note. Unfortunately, we didn't have champagne to go with them. Although we should have thought of that one.
Ooh,
I know.
bubbles.
But you had a fish bowl?
But we had fish bowls so they could dive into the fish bowls.
Exactly.
Your local champagne.
There you go.
Yeah, that's our local version of champagne. Is
it
our fish bowl.
sparkles.
Yeah.
Very effervescent.
this is
There you go.
great.
Exactly.
Good.
Well, I'm excited to
Very
try.
nice. Yeah, let's grab a fork and let's
Yeah.
try this here.
This looks okay. You gotta get a little bit of everything,
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
right?
Yes.
My chaotic method with the Buddha bowl is I put a plate on top and I shake it when I eat it.
There you go.
Oh my god.
The dressing is definitely. Now do you get the hard eyes? Do you feel it?
Heart eyes and hearts all around emojis.
This is so flavorful.
That is
Yes.
delicious.
That's the great part. That's why when we cook our vegetables for when we put them on them, it's just salt and pepper because that dressing has so much flavor in it and so much packed into it that you just kind of let the vegetables and everything else sing for themselves. Salt, pepper, and oil. That's it.
As you were saying earlier, the textures with the seeds and everything.
Yeah.
The textures are amazing. Add so much to the flavor.
Oh my gosh. This is my
This,
ideal.
this is the taste of the valley, I tell you.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Leah, Rebecca, Heartwood Restaurant, thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
This
you guys
was
for having us.